I know that what y'all come for is the gospel, and I want to make sure y'all always get that. But we're living in a real difficult time right now, and there's some things I need to make sure that you all are aware of that is happening. And I believe that it needs to come from me to you. I'm concerned, and I've been concerned over the last couple of years that the church has lost its influence. I need to let that soak in. I'm concerned. I know we know how to come together. We can pray and we can preach and we can sing and we can worship together. But I'm concerned that the church has lost its influence. I've I've been in a lot of different environments, and I'm constantly being asked to come to various meetings with various leaders, whether they're religious leaders, political leaders, social activists. But I've run in a lot of those circles. Some of y'all wonder, what does a pastor do all week? Well, you know what? I go out and I represent you in the community. But I'm concerned that the church has lost its influence. And the reason that I say that is because when we're meeting with people who have influence and power over the way you live, they are looking for votes. And they're looking for people who can represent a larger group of people. So therefore, if I show up as James Cooper, then I'm just one person. Who cares? But when I show up and I represent a body of people, then the conversation gets a little bit different. I can demand things and expect a response. I can ask for meetings to discuss issues that concern you, me, and the community, and I get a response. When it's just me, it's just me. Some of y'all have done it yourselves. You make calls, you write letters to your public officials, and you never hear anything back because you're just one individual. But when I can show up and say, listen, I've got a church full of people who are backing me up. I'm not here on my own. I'm here representing all of them. And they are all the voting population that can either vote or not vote for you. It brings on a different level of influence. Now, here's the reason that I say this because we're in a time right now where there's a lot of activity happening to take away your vote, your voice. Your voice is your vote. When you don't vote, or when others don't vote around you, you end up having to take off work or take up your Saturday and go out there and protest for something that we could have just voted in the first place and we wouldn't have to do all that. And so it ends up, we have to go through a whole lot of stuff and a whole lot of pain. There's a lot of policies and executive orders that have been put in place during this last 8, 9 months that are being to them are being delayed because they're trying to get us past the midterms, because once the midterms hit and they get the number they remained in power, then the impact of those things will happen because there's nothing we can do about it at that point. And so it's important that you give your leaders influence and power. And the way that you give them influence and power is that you show up at that appointed time. Now, what do you mean? What do you mean, Pastor? 3 years ago, along with the Faith Leaders Roundtable, a Souls to the Polls campaign. Y'all remember that? The faith leaders, roughly 13 pastors that have come together to build relationship and to move agendas forward. We came together and we brought out about 250 people to vote in the early election. That was a statement that said, listen, if nothing else, we have 250 votes. And in many cases, 250 votes can swing an election. However, what really happens is when you have an overwhelming election, it erases all of the other opposition. Let me give you an example. Right now, Congress is going through their midterms. It's going to be very, very close. But if it were not close, there would be what they call a supermajority. This supermajority is one that, regardless of what they vote on, the president, without the supermajority, the president could literally um, erase it away. He could veto whatever they do. If they get a super majority, then it cannot be overturned even by the president. And so it's important that you all show up. Now, I'm not asking you, I don't have a time, I don't have an event or anything like that scheduled so far, but there's going to come a time when I'm going to have to come to you and say, listen, I need for you to empower your pastor by your presence being at a specific place at a specific time. It empowers us. So it was 6 pastors sitting around a dinner table on last Monday. And we just went around a table and said, listen, how many people do you think from your church would come just because you asked them to come? Just because, not because we got a food truck, not because we got entertainment, no choir. This is just to solidify your future. What if we just add, don't beg them, nothing like that. Just let them know this is what we need you to do. This is the way you protest, and had them come just to give us validity so that when we go and meet, regardless, it's not about Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. Because when I show up with 1,000 people, they all of a sudden, I don't care whether you're red or blue, you're going to listen to what I have to say. And we went around the table and we ended up saying, yeah, about 1,000 people, with all of us, about 1,000 people. That is huge. That's huge. That gives us the influence that we need in order to sit in front of these powerful leaders and demand what is best for our people. Okay? We see that the options for our children are getting smaller and fewer. If you are not concerned about your children growing up right now, I don't know what could possibly be on your mind. And I'm telling you, we have to make sure that everybody gets out and votes, not just you. I threaten my kids. No. And I was talking earlier, hunger is a great motivator. If you ever want to sit up under put your foot under my table and eat some of our food, you're going to have to go and vote. Y'all with me so far, right? I'm being a little facetious, but y'all understand what I'm saying. Everybody needs to vote, because the real reality is by the time some of this stuff really, really hits, I might be going on to glory. They're the ones that are going to have to live with these things. We came through the tail end of the civil rights movement. Our children are the beneficiaries of the civil rights movement, but they don't understand what sacrifices really happened. They don't understand when we tell them, listen, people died for you to have the right to vote. They don't understand that when we say the dogs were sicked on us. They don't know when the water hose was turned on us. They don't understand that because they never experienced it. The other thing that they haven't experienced is the harsh racism, because we shielded them from many of that, because we lived better so that they could live better and go to integrated schools and go and benefit from the policies that were in place. They don't understand that. They just feel like it just came. Some of the young kids don't listen. A black president, what's the big deal? Because they've lived through that. They've seen that. But I saw the tears on my father-in-law's face when Obama won the president, because they couldn't believe that a black man could be the president of this United States. And so I just come to you today to express the importance of your presence. I'm not asking for you to agree. I'm not asking for you to disagree. All I'm saying is, if you trust me to represent you, then you need to be present at that time. That's unfortunately where we are right now. Amen. When Martin Luther King came to Cleveland, he called 2 or 3 pastors and put the word out. Didn't go to the media, didn't do big flyers, didn't schedule a big rally or nothing like that. He went to those pastors and said, listen, I'm coming to town on this day. I need your people there. Those 2 or 3 pastors put the word out to all the other pastors, and their churches showed up in thousands, in thousands. Are y'all with me so far? I'm telling you, things are about to get rough, rough, rough. They want to send your children to fight wars that they already know they can't win. They're not sending their kids to war. Amen. Black women are losing jobs like crazy. DEI is real. You see them get rid of DEI so they can get rid of us and hire incompetent people. Y'all come on. Are y'all with me so far? I'm ready for the fight. I'm ready to represent you. I need for you all to empower me so that we can have the influence on the people who are making these decisions. Amen. Amen.